Welcome to this whiteboard session about sales pipeline management, which is a key element of the sales process. Sales pipeline management defines how we actually prospect for business, and there are various ways of doing this. A salesperson's time is probably his or her most valuable resource, and we spend a huge amount of that prospecting for business. So it'll be interesting to understand what is the most effective way of prospecting for business and how can we maximize our return on our investment in time in prospecting for business. Let's explore the various ways of prospecting for business. We could generate prospective customers from online inquiries, from referrals from existing customers. We can generate them through cold calling, showroom or premise visits by customers, or through warm calling. The least effective way of prospecting for business is cold calling, and that is literally door knocking, going and talking to people who don't know us or our product offering or service offering. When we look at the sales conversion rate from cold calling, we'd estimate it could be 50 to 1, which means that for every sales order we generate here, we actually have to do 50 cold calls. That's a lot of time and energy spent prospecting. Let's explore the different stages of progressing the sale through the pipeline. After we fed in our prospective customers, the first area that we focus on is establishing and developing rapport with the prospective customer. This is a very, very important start for the sales process. People buy people first, then they will buy your product or service. If we don't establish good rapport with a prospective client, we're in trouble. The next stage is undertaking a customer needs analysis, and that is identifying the customer's requirements. After we have established good rapport with our prospective customer, the next stage is to undertake a customer needs analysis. That is to establish the customer's criteria for ordering. We do this through using open-ended questions, and we summarize for agreement once we have listened to their requirements. As we are undertaking a customer needs analysis, we are also trying to qualify them as a sales prospect. To qualify a prospective customer, first of all, we are trying to identify what indicative budget they may have for this purchase. We also want to know, is there anybody else involved in the decision-making process that needs to be part of this sales presentation? We're trying to identify their needs, of course, and then we're actually looking at what time frame is involved. So these four elements of the sales qualification process are very important in terms of progressing the sale. The next stage in progressing the sale is the sales presentation or matching process. This is where we present the benefits of our product or service offering that match the requirements the customer is seeking to satisfy. This is a very important stage of the sales process. A key element of the sales presentation is when we present the benefits of our product or service offering, we are trial closing to establish commitment. Another key element of the sales presentation is handling customer objections, which are likely to come up at any stage during the sales process. Perhaps the best way of handling customer objections is to pre-handle them during your presentation. Handling objections is covered in the audio program, Selling in a Tough Economic Climate. The final phase of progressing the sale is closing the sale. If we've done a very, very effective sales presentation with good trial closes, and we are getting the customer in the affirmative, this part of the sale should self-close. That is where the customer will say, well, what do we do next, or how do I sign up? There are different closing techniques, and a popular one is the invitational close. This is where you have a lot of agreement from the customer in terms of your product offering, and you say to them, why don't you give it a try? That is a very, very strong closing question. A key metric we use in sales pipeline management is the sales conversion rate. That is the ratio of the number of prospective customers that we feed into our pipeline to the number of actual sales orders that drop out at the end of the pipeline. This is very important in terms of being productive as a salesperson. We are looking for interested customers when we are prospecting for business. An interested customer is somebody who is buying our product or service this week or this month. If we're dealing with a lot of prospective customers through our pipeline, a great way of categorizing them is probability of closing. This is where we rate customers on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being poor, 10 being best, in terms of are we actually going to close them and get the sale. So at the early stage, when we're just establishing rapport with the client, the probability of closing is probably at a 1. And then we start to establish and develop rapport. We might get them to a 2 to 3. And then once we've conducted the customer needs analysis and the sales qualifying, we'll get them to a 4 or 5. In the sales presentation, which I also call the selling zone, okay, we might get them to a 6 to 7. And then in the negotiating stage, where we're trying to create win-win situations, we'll get them to an 8 or 9. And then the 10 is the close. That's where we put them across the line, which is excellent. To me, we're looking for interested customers, but what we want are hot prospective customers. And this is the stage when we're actually presenting to people who are genuinely interested in buying our service or our product. Anything above a 7 in probability closing terms is a hot prospective customer. In sales pipeline management, there are 2 very important metrics, and one we've discussed already, and it's worth a mention again, is the sales conversion rate. That is the ratio of the number of prospective customers we're feeding into our pipeline here to the number of sales orders that drop out here. And as mentioned previously, we're looking for a lower rate. If that is 10 to 1 or 15 to 1, that's not bad, you know. But if it's over 30 or 40 to 1, I'd certainly be looking at how I'm prospecting for business. The next metric is very important, and that is the sales strike rate. That is the ratio of the number of presentations we deliver to hot prospective customers to the number of sales orders. So if my strike rate is 2 to 1 or 3 to 1, that's not bad. But if my strike rate was 6 or 7 to 1, I'd be certainly looking at the quality of my sales presenting. I trust this whiteboard session on sales prospecting and sales pipeline management has provided you with some insights into the selling process. Further sales strategies are discussed in my audio program, Selling in a Tough Economic Climate, which is available to download from this website.